good. Hi, hello, how are you guys? It is a truly an honor coming here. Definitely, I'm not Albert Einstein, but I'm pretty good. So, why I do this every day. I'm talking with one of the distinguished women on LinkedIn. I tell you why I do this. Do this is doctors. It's kind of the physics is a mother of all sciences. Physics and mathematics is the foundations of the nature around us. If you want to understand the nature around us, irrespective of, we can reduce our discriminations, we can reduce our biases if you understand science in the fundamental level. That is the reason I do this program. And on the top of it, I want the physicians to understand what the physics is looking at it, because some of the solutions may not be in healthcare. It may come from other areas of healthcare, which is that physics, mathematics, and other sciences and technology. So I think, if you can, if you are, this is the reason I do this, because I think that is, I'm getting a very good compliments. Thank you all. I really respect it. I am, you know, diversity is a very important for all the listeners. It is important. It is a diversity. Why it is important? I tell you, diversity is a, you can one of the things in India you could find. One is diversity. You know, people may know, some people may know, some people may not know. I married an African American woman, and I have two children, wonderful children. I tell you what she said to me when she went to India, even though we are s- divorced, but she went to India to see, she stayed with my family, and and then what she said was that is one of the best countries she visited all over the world. She said that is one of the best countries she visited, because she that diversity that she saw. So so um so that is the key for the diversity, because mm, diversity is a strength. Because one of the areas, the strength of the diversity is the accepting two diametrically opposite ideas you can coexist. That is the greatness of humans. Computers will crash if you have two diametrically opposite ideas. I A computer programmer in India can play a cobra in the morning, and then he can write impeccable code in the afternoon. It's just a diametrically opposite idea, views of logic and reason. It defies every logic and reason. So our greatest strength, quantum physics tells you, our greatest strength is accommodating the called duality, particle and wave nature of the wave nature and the particle nature. The that it gives you particle and wave duality. You can exist at the same time. Superposition of the quantum, one of the particles fundamental property, that is in existence both positions at the same time. So that is on and off same time. The quantum computer is a qubit, is a one and zero at the same time, not like unlike a quantum classical computers. So that is the reason. But important is a consciousness is a fundamental to all of it. you know doctors or other healthcare people, they think the quantum physics is kind of a voodoo science. But physics is seriously, physicists always discuss about quantum physics, the consciousness. I tell you why. Because there is a fundamental problem in the double slit experiment. We could not solve it. Is a measurement problem. Is a consciousness has to be injected in this one. I'm going to talk about a little bit consciousness through quantum physics and the medicine where the consciousness exists. So I'm going to play a video, and you could see, and then I will talk about a little bit of quantum, the about the consciousness role in medicine and in physics and in sciences. So I'm going to play a video, so that it gives you some idea about consciousness. Some of them are, I made some typos and misspoken, but I'm going to explain to you where I misspoke. But please watch this video. It gives you consciousness, what is the fundamental level in the physics side of it and the medicine side of it. Okay. Quantum Physics for Doctors, Mystery Object in Medicine by Ramana Annamaraju. Dr. Champagne is a critical care physician and faculty member at Stony Brook University School of Medicine and a member of Pulmonary Critical Care Division. Dr. Pania is the prime investigator for a large study across multiple medical centers around the world about bringing people from cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest is the arrest of pumping blood due to the malfunction of electrical activity in the heart. Cardiac arrest results in death within minutes without quick resuscitation. The resuscitation is the combination of procedural techniques of bringing someone from edges of death. One of those resuscitation techniques is a cardiopulmonary resuscitation, popularly known as CPR. Any delay administering in CPR, even for minutes, results in certain death. But there are certain exceptions and anomalies that raises several questions than answers in medicine and science.
34-year-old Audrey Mash went hiking with her husband on November 3rd when things took a turn for the worse. The couple got lost and Audrey went into cardiac arrest from severe hypothermia. But 6 hours after her heart stopped beating, doctors at Barcelona's Vall d'Hebron hospital were able to resuscitate her.
Amazing. It's like a miracle.
Audrey Schumann fully recovered and went back to her life as Audrey Schumann. Listen carefully what I said. She came back to life after dead for 6 hours as Audrey Schumann, not as a Margaret Thatcher, not as an African princess. Which one or what entity told her she is still Audrey Schumann? This is not some religious or a philosophical question. This is still under purview of scientific inquiry, particularly the process of cardiac arrest. Dr. Champagne is a prime investigator for the study called AWAKE, examines the process of dying and reviving. He conducted these studies in multiple medical centers around the world with reputable physicians with more than 2,000 subjects who went through cardiac arrest and successfully revived. Dr. Champagne argues there is a presence of some entity that is external to our world beyond our space and time, reminding Audrey Schumann her identity. That entity is called consciousness. The study is a scientific odyssey of consciousness, the journey through an unknown worlds about some kind of a subjective awareness. Dr. Champagne had faced resistance from scientific establishment without giving a due process and trying to sweep the studies under the carpet. The detractors' claim is the so-called consciousness has no place in the field of medicine. But Panya may have support from an entirely surprising field that is not so related to medicine, that is quantum cosmology. Andrei Linde, a well-known Russian-American professor of physics at Stanford University, gives a mathematical proof for the existence of consciousness. Linde was one of the authors of the theory of inflation. Professor Linde is a member of the National Academy of Sciences. When you apply quantum laws to the entire universe, the total energy of the universe must be equal to zero. If that is the case, nothing happened, nothing should happen, and nothing will happen in the entire history of universe. If everything is a zero-sum game, the act of you watching this video never happened, but the facts dispute, you know you're watching it. That is a scientific paradox. To solve this paradox, quantum cosmologists reluctantly injected an entity called conscious observer. Your physical body is not excluded from the universe, but your consciousness is. Your mind became an observer. Now the entire energy of the universe can be equal to zero, your consciousness being the recorder of the history of the universe. Consciousness is the only way out to satisfy the mathematical equations of the universe. British professor of cognitive and computational neuroscience at the University of Sussex, England, argues there is only one thing there is. It is consciousness, and there is no evidence for anything else. But as a physician, you are wondering what is a patient's care is anything to do with the consciousness. But physician and the brain of a patient have one common purpose: keeping patient alive. You don't have to be smart to feel pain, just you need to be alive. Inside the brain, there are no lights, no sounds, no smells, and only electrical signals. We recognize and experience these signals through interpretations as a reality. It is certainly second person's perspective, mistaken for direct experiences.
A fake rubber hand is placed in front of them. Then both hands are simultaneously stroked with a paintbrush while the person stares at the fake hand. Now, for most people, after a while, this leads to the very uncanny sensation that the fake hand is in fact part of their body. And the idea is that the congruence between seeing touch and feeling touch on an object that looks like a hand and is roughly where a hand should be is enough evidence for the brain to make its best guess that the fake hand is in fact part of the body.
The famous rubber hand illusion and the extension of that one is with the magician David Blaine performing touch experiment with the actor Will Smith and his wife Jada Pinkett. In both experiments, brain is wrongly guessing someone is poking them without being touched. Brain is clearly confused what is and what is not parts of its body. But brain has a bigger responsibility, keeping you alive. Sensory signals coming from inside the body are continuously telling the brain about its state of its internal organs, how the heart is doing, what the blood pressure is like, and so on. Patient perception is not just hysteria, it is a valid signal from the brain. Brain is a resident real-time monitoring system for keeping physiological variables within the bounds for its own survival. Anil Seth and his colleagues believe consciousness acts like a software platform for the biological interactions. Patient is not only a conscious observer of his or her own body, but also a particular participant. You can witness manifestation of consciousness in the doctor's waiting room, particularly if they are Medicare patients. In 1996, a group of people between the ages of 19 and 24 and a group of older people between the ages of 60 and 80 were asked to count out 3 minutes in their heads without watching the clock. The group between the ages of 19 and 24 clocked an almost perfect 3 minutes and 3 seconds of real time, but the older group did not stop until the staggering 3 minutes and 40 seconds. In a paper published recently by Duke University professor Adrian Bejan presents an argument based on the physics of a neural signal processing. He hypothesizes as we grow older, brain processing power is inversely proportional to the time in their mind. So older patients feel time is moving faster than real clock because their time scale is different in their conscious mind. As a physician, if you think there is only objective-based medicine, that's all there is. It is certainly a wrong conclusion. Next time, if you are walking by a patient on a life support system, show respect as they are conscious, reminding yourself Dr. Champagne's studies. Next time, before you dismiss a patient is hysterical, think of Dr. Anil Seth's studies that the patient's brain is the best patient monitoring system there is. If a Medicare patient complains he or she spends more time in waiting room than others, you realize Dr. Adrian Bejan's studies, patient's conscious time is different than clock on the wall. If you try to understand the conscious observer behind every patient, you see a great wonder and a mystery. You will become a perfect healer of body and mind. Computers cannot replace physician as such because the still unknown, still mysterious entity called consciousness is not computable. Only other conscious observer like you has the power to understand. This is Ramana Hannamaraju. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. And this is you're all wondering what happened to the guest, the Dr. Douglas Bale. Douglas Bale is a radiologist, interventional radiologist. He's supposed to appear. He climbed Mount Everest. In the last minute, he had a society meeting, an emergency came up, and he could not able to come. I hope he's going to come on soon on our show. Thank you so much, and I hope he's going to explain his experiences with the Everest and all his new procedures he's doing in the interventional pain medicine. Is the interventional radiologist. So I am looking forward to listening from him in the future. But thank you. But I tell you, I'm going to talk about this consciousness is the very important aspect of medicine. The reason is a observer reality. What is a patient feeling is extremely important. That if you don't feel that, then you're actually sidelining the process. That is the reason that we have so much mistrust. 6 out of 10 Americans don't trust their doctors or their American healthcare system. It is staggering number. 60% of the people. Even what they found out is more surprising. Even among the healthcare professionals, nurses and other people don't trust their own healthcare system. It is just strange. So so because the reason is humans are not just basically computers, they are a conscious observers. Consciousness cannot be computable. That's what Dr. Roger Penrose, the mathematical physicist, says. Consciousness is not a computable. It is just outside of the computational methods. So that is, there are people who argue eventually the consciousness is a computational process, but we are not even close to that. We don't know yet. There is a mathematical restriction on the top of it. It is called a categorical incompleteness theorem. It forbids the it kind of a brain, you computers, it forbids the computers to simulate the consciousness. So it's kind of a conundrum we have at this time. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what is a consciousness, and then medicine, how we can play, how the some of the things that we can come close to consciousness through medicine. I'm going to explain to you. So this is a Medbig's webcast, and consciousness hacking is. I want to tell you about this. Just 1 second. I'm okay. So when I came to this country, I studied the first one. Is I came across a book called Michael Talbot's book. It's called The Holographic Universe. It's a very interesting book. He doesn't have any scientific background, but he's a journalist. He died very young age. He was one of the famous gay man who died with AIDS. That's he's one of the first few guys in San Francisco inflicted with this disease. But he wrote several good books. He's one of the holographic universe is one of the best books that I came across. As a non-scientist, he did that. I have a master's in physics. I did a lot of computer science degree. Almost I finished a lot of computer classes, and then nuclear engineering. I did quite a bit of studies all over the world, like India, Canada, United States. So I understand, his idea of that's the reason I could able to talk about all these subjects and spend 30 years in healthcare. But Michael Talbot's book, it is a very interesting. He talks about a hologram. If you take a hologram, which is that similar to the one you see on the driver's license, for example, you cut in half the holographic picture. It doesn't cut in half. It cuts into two small pieces. Then you cut further, it gets into smaller pieces. That is, doesn't cut in half. It gets smaller and smaller. All the way you can do all the way to the atomic level. So you can take the universe and cut in small places, a holographic universe. If you think about what he claims is universe is itself is hologram. Then if you cut in that small pieces all the way to the electron level, the fundamental particle level, it has all the information. What that means when it's smaller means it has all the information embedded for the entire picture. A part, the whole contains the part, but it's a counterintuitive pot can also contain the whole. Here is a counterintuitive thought. The smaller one has all the information about the bigger rose, smaller rose, because it has all the information. It's a question is an extraction of the information. So this is a fundamental the hologramic fundamental property of the hologram. So if you take all the way universe and cut it in small pieces, is a thought experiment. If you go all the way to the electron level, electron has all the information about the entire universe. Isn't it strange? That is a very strange concept in the hologram. That is a scientific thought. He advanced it. Where he got this idea is from the two scientists. One is Dr. David Bohm, is a quantum physicist, very well known quantum physicist. And then there is another neurosurgeon from Stanford University called Prabham. He died, both of them died. David Bohm was a Brooklyn born quantum physicist. He was trained under the Albert Einstein. He was the prodigy of the Einstein. And he was one of the most well respected physicists among physicists. He was branded as communist sympathizer. He was asked to leave this country. He left for Brazil and then eventually ended up in England, and he got married there. And it is a sad story. We lost a great human being and a greatest scientist of all. That to the our um, you know political bias, in my view. So but anyway, that David Bohm David Bohm is a quantum physicist. He wrote several books on quantum physics. He gave a powerful theory of the quantum physics in the explaining the observer and observer reality. I will explain to you. Carl Prabham is a very well known neuroscientist from Stanford. Both died. But what they do, what is that they are talking about? It is the conundrum of the physics, the observer and observer observed. So if you see you're an observer, you're watching, you're seeing your chair, your computer, your everything that is observed. What he's saying is you cannot ask what is the until you watch it, until you see it, you cannot ask what they're doing. You cannot ask chair what it is doing before your observation. That's a strange phenomenon in science. It's experimentally proved through quantum physics. It's called a double slit experiment. At the at the fundamental quantum level, it proved that until you observe it, we do not know what electron is doing. Same thing applies. Electron is a matter. The chair has all the electrons, protons, neutrons, or everything it has. So the chair that you're watching is observed. You cannot say until you watch it. This is a big problem in science, physics. It's called a measurement problem. You cannot solve. We are stuck with this measurement problem for a long time. We have not solved it. We don't know what it is. So the mind. One of the ideas that other people suggested is that observer is creating the reality. It's not there. The chair is not there. Once you observe it. So Einstein had a problem. Einstein said that. So you mean to say the moon doesn't exist because if you are not looking at it? Yes, Einstein was wrong. Quantum physics told clearly without any uncertain terms, with certain terms. It is yes. You can the moon would not exist without if you don't look at it long enough. So observer and observer, it's a very conundrum relationship we have. You cannot prove you're living, you're alive or dead. You cannot prove yourself because you don't know. Everything could be a illusion around you, all your friends, the world, the universe. To prove that is impossible. It's a measurement problem, extension of the measurement problem, actually. So observer and observed have a very complicated relationship. That is the double slit experiment proved it, and it is a quantum physics, the fundamental basis for the quantum physics. So what is David Bohm was struggling with this idea. What is this thought? What is observer is doing? what is going on in his mind. So what that he went on and spoke with one of the Indian spiritual master is from my hometown, home state. His name is Jiddu Krishnamurti, JK, they call him. In shortcut, he died. Both of them died, in fact. So JK Krishnamurti, he was a Theosophical society of. He started a World Theosophical Society. He was a spiritual teacher. He was talking about thought. Thought itself is a impure. What he's saying is, the David Bohm came up with this idea of implicate and explicate order. Implicate order is that a thought comes out of a mind is impure thought. Christians used to my ex-wife and my children are Christian. They say sometimes they say they're Hindu. Also, they go to temple and the church both same time. But I tell you what the in Christianity, you see, you're born as a sinner. Maybe to some extent, what they're saying is your thought. The moment you get the thought, is that sin starts. Is like you become impure yourself. A nirvana, Buddha's taught that there is a thoughtless state. That is a nirvana. It's called, right? So he says that the thought is creating this actionable thing, it is creating these impurities and comes out of the oneness of the consciousness. The thought comes out of it as like a swirl in the ocean. A swirl in the ocean thinks it is separate from the ocean, but is a part of the ocean itself. A temper. So that swirl is like a temper. It may go away within 1 hour, 2 hours. The swirls could be galaxies, could be planets, could be stars, could be you and me. That is all temporary in that sense. They all think that we are all separate from each other because we think that, but it is a oneness. That is one of the things, a very complicated way that is our mind thinks in. So it's a mind is creating a grand illusion in that sense. So David Bohm then they it's a Helena Blavatsky. She's a Russian woman. She started a Theosophical Society. Truth is a pathless land. And organized religions are always I'm not against it. I don't want to talk about family too much, but my ex-wife is a devout Christian. A lot of devout Christians. Nothing wrong with that. But I tell you, the devotion is a powerful tool. But the truth is, there is a preacher who is telling you what is right or wrong. He is the God. Forget about all other men. He is the only man that exists. That is a problematic for people who are really question the logic and reason. So truth is actually pathless land. You got to invent. You got to find yourself. So the Helena Blavatsky started this at a Theosophical Society. She said all the religions are same, one and the same. If you understand the oneness of the bottom, the basic of the understanding of the mind itself. So observer creates reality. That is one of the things is observer has they created two things. When you see Rembrandt or Monet, these are the two paintings. They did the same thing, but observer can interpret two different ways, two different things. Observer has that interpretation, that qualia. We don't know what that qualia, how does it play in the role of mind. That is a very important, the qualia aspect of it. Same kind of a people painted the two women, beautiful women, but that interpretation could be very different from each one of us. So Amita Goswami, another physicist, he created something that is called upward casualness. What is upward casualty? Is causation. Upward causation is that. So we think that Big Bang came in, that the galaxies were born, stars were born, planets came out, the life came out on the planet. That is how one of the orders that physics gives us. But the Amita Goswami says, because of this quantum conundrum, what it says that actually the consciousness is the fundamental. It created all these things in your mind. It's a very interesting area. Even Andrew India thinks that same way. So is a mind is a creating all these materials rather than they exist. A thought is creating is a thought is creating the brain is creating. So materials come up of the consciousness. A consciousness create a brain, your life, everything, all the planets, everything, it is in the mind itself. That is one of the powerful arguments. May be true or may not be true, but it is a powerful argument by Amita Goswami, a physicist here. He wrote several books. He is famous for causation. So that Dr. Penrose, so eventually what they found out is there were two. One is a physicist, one is the anesthesiologist. Dr. Stout Amaroff is a celebrated anesthesiologist, and Sir Roger Penrose. They came up with a very new kind of a theory. That is, the theory is that in the neuron cells, in the cells of the neuron, you see quantum effects. We all believe that it has to occur. The quantum effects means superposition. You can exist in two places at the same time. Has to be in the lowest. It can only possible if it is close to the lowest absolute zero temperature. Lowest temperatures, the quantum effects can happen. That's brain is a wet and it is a warm. It is impossible to have the quantum effects. That's what the argument of a lot of other people in the biology side. But what the Sir Roger Penrose and Stout Amaroff proposed a new kind of theory, tantalizing theory, that is that in the neuron cells, quantumness exhibits in the quantum tunneling happens in the neuron cells, microtubules. They call microtubules in the neuronal cells. In the microtubules exhibit the quantum phenomena. What it means is you are in tune with the entire universe. All the frequencies, you are in tune with the nature around you. So the neurons, the quantum tunneling happens, means when it happens, that means your quantum microtubules in that sense that connected with all the frequencies of the universe itself. That's a very so this thought is not just the idea that came out. There's not a theory. Anirban Bandyopadhyaya, actually, I spoke with him. I interviewed him, and I love to interview him again. Anirban Bandyopadhyaya is an Indian physicist, biophysicist. He moved to Japan, and he made an experimental verification of this. He didn't say micro, but quantum. But what he found out is in the neurons, in neuronal cells, it is a frequencies. It can connect with all the frequencies of the universe. All the frequencies of the universe on the brain can connect with all the. It tunes with the nature. Brain knows how to tune with the nature. That is the fundamentally think. That is the powerful concept. Anirban proved it experimentally. Is in Japan now. He proved it. He's an experimental physicist. So the theory is not anymore theory, but he has getting a lot of experimental verifications right now. So body and mind. What is the relationship between the body and mind? So like a radio and music. So the music is coming from a radio. That doesn't mean radio is producing the music. It's transmitting the music. So radio is a brain, and the music is a consciousness. It's coming somewhere. Through the waves. So we have to think that body and mind relationship is that radio and music. That is best way, the closest analogy I can give. So consciousness is so, but we are under the impression a radio is some people. If alien comes or somebody else comes and from a different planet, you may be thinking the radio is producing that music. So thoughts are very powerful, or mental health that's important. So it is a very mind is that is a so how do you feel calm in your mind? What it takes to be calm? Okay. So now what we see in America is a mental health catastrophe. There is so much problems going on, kids killing kids, all those things. But how do you find a bliss in this thing? How do you explain meditation through scientific way. I tell you how the scientific way works at the fundamental level. There are two scientists, Mossbergs. They are Mary and Edward Mosers. They won the Nobel Prize in 2014. The Nobel Prize is that's what they found. What they found is it's astonishing in the discovery. What they discovered is astonishing in the brain. It is this is a scientific explanation of the bliss part. How do you feel bliss? How can you achieve the bliss? Why meditation is helpful? The bliss part. Why nirvana? Why Buddha proposed, psychedelics, for example, or create this kind of a bliss? How does it happen? Why it happens? That is, this is the one they found out. They won the Nobel Prize for this discovery. It is called, it is called grid cells and place cells. They're all in the brain. There are the time cells actually there too. So the grid cells, they're like work like a GPS. Thought becomes a construct of geometry. The brain, every thought becomes a geometrical structure in the brain. So it provides, suppose you're going to Manhattan to meet a friend in 34th Street and then 8th Avenue, you want to meet somebody. That is the grid cells tell you where that is, where the area is, Manhattan. Place such exactly put you where you're at, where you can meet 34th and 8th Avenue. So it guide you. These two cells have a GPS system inside. These are the brain GPS cells. What they discover. So what they further extended extension of this is our thoughts are geometrical thoughts, geometrical in nature. Geometry is a sacred in that sense. Time cells. How the time is? How do they know? Neuron knows the yesterday, the difference between yesterday and tomorrow, because they're time cells. They keep track of the clock. Anibon talks about the clock within the clock, clock within the clock. Actually, clocks are running our brains. He calls it nano brains. So the grid cells and place cells create this GPS system in our system. So when you have a bliss, when you do meditation, what happens? Very something strange happens here. The grid cells and place cells, they become dysfunctional. They become the activity goes down. When you don't know where you're at, you feel like you're lost in space. You're lost in time. You're lost in space and time. That is a blissfulness. So meditation, what it does, it kind of a activity. It brings down the grid cells and place cells, the time cells. The activity keeps them down. Okay, that is the power of the grid cells and place cells. That meditation does that. That is why it's irrespective of your religious beliefs. You should do meditation. You even pray any god. Pray with the meditation, with the devotion that can bring with the grid cells and place cells. You can also do music. Can do that too. A good music can do that. So religious music or spiritual music or any ambient music can do that. It brings the function of the grid cells and place cells into the minimum. So place and time is lost. So this is a thought is a geometry. This idea was proposed by Plato. My matrix platform that I proposed is based on geometry. Some people trying to copy it because I patented it. Hey guys, don't do it. You lose money. So, but it is a cognitive spaces. It's so in the brain, it is a created geometrical constructs. It's a geometrical hexagonal. It actually hexagonal. If you see the bees, if you see bees, the what do you call the nest? My English is gone there. Bees that put that thing is hexagonal structure. You know why? It is the maximum efficient way using space. So actually, our thought process is assembled in hexagonal geometrical structures in the brain. So that is a cognitive spaces are created in the brain. So actually, there was the actual picture of the neurons. They took it, 50 neurons in the in the holographic way they assemble in the three-dimensional world. That is the actual picture of the neurons lighting up. A good thought, lighting up the thoughts, the actual neuron. You can see the 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 picture of the neurons, individual neurons, 50 of them. You can see in that holographic picture of the. So hologram is not only the universe we believe in hologram, the brain itself is a maybe holographic structure. So bad thoughts, killer's thoughts are basically when the place cells and grid cells are all messed up. They're all messed up. He doesn't know the difference between. That's what the kids are killing kids. These are the these are the problem. We need to bring that, but that geometrical structures. We need to. That's how do you bring it? Actually, one is the meditation, other one is the medications, of course. All those things are important. We need to really understand the mental health, the very and a fundamental level. So mental health crisis is bigger than economic crisis. What's going on in America right now, all over the world, in fact. So disabling and reducing the place and grid cells can reduce the bad thoughts for a while. That is, we have to disabling and reducing the activity of the place and grid cells and time cells. We may have some kind of a solution. How do you do that? Through you can use technology. You can use a psychedelics, for example. That's a lot of research going on. John Hopkins and the New York Langone Hospital. There's a lot of psychedelics going on. I wish that I could show you. Maybe if you're interested, I can show you that video about the fractals. But you don't have to have a psychedelics and medications. You can do with the meditation. You can achieve the same amount, or you can visualize it with virtual reality. You can visualize this kind of virtual reality through fractal geometry. Fractals are, and Mandelbrot is a right hand side, Einstein is negative curvature. You can combine these complex structures together, create a visual audio stimulations like what the psychedelics produce. You can simulate that through the technology, through virtual reality and neurofeedback. So meditation is a nirvana, it is a thoughtless state. We have to create one of the creates is thoughtless state is a very powerful way to do that. It is not easy, but meditation is like meditation is our monkey brain. That's why we need a virtual reality because the system, we become a monkey brains not because don't blame ourselves. Our system, our system created so much complexities, unnecessary complexities. The politicians, that's why one of the reason is democracy. Is good in same time. These politicians, the way they created is just selfishness, and they don't care about societies. That's what happens is the selfishness eventually percolating to the top right now. So that selfishness creates what it does. It does create this unbelievable stresses on the system. So we are the victims of that stresses. So we don't have to blame ourselves. Sometimes, yes, we have to blame ourselves because the way we elect people. We need to give first thing you need to check on people before you elect anybody. Are they spiritual or not? Or they understand the mind, I understand the consciousness, understand the value of the mind, value of the mental health. That is very important. We have to really give a one thought, at least a one point for that kind of elected representatives all over the world. I'm not just talking about the United States, all over the world. We need to give a thought process and say, hey, are these our representatives are all thinking about us, or the mind is important. Minimalistic living is one of the powerful tools. So we need to. We are in a complex world. I watch the Elvis Presley. This one, if you have not watched that video, Elvis Presley's video, I can dream. That video, watch it. It's just the unbelievable blues he sings, and then it is one of my favorite videos of the. When you get a chance, watch it, please. He's in the troubles. We are in the middle of the troubles. We can dream. We can dream a state that is we are all one and the same. So art can create that. Fractal geometries, for example, a lot of mathematicians work on the fractal geometry. Jackson Pollock is one of the all his art is a trained artist, is a drunken trained artist. But the way he did provide art, it looks like a modern art, is like a crazy art. But if you think about it, it is a very powerful art he created. The greatness of the Jackson Pollock is that I have written in the book and with Jennifer, along with Jennifer, one of the things he did in Jackson Pollock is that if you can look at the art from a 10 feet away, 100 feet away, 1,000 feet away, it exactly looks same. The spot contains the whole contains the parts, pot can contain the whole. The same thing is MC Escher. All his illusions are very, very mathematically complex. A lot of mathematicians spend a lot of time understanding these two painters. So art and mathematics combine in some place. So technology can help. I'm um, technology is a particularly virtual reality in the because of the stresses of our system. We can use temporarily bring down our monkey brain to the thought process, thoughtless state quick. Then you have to train them. It's not just if you bring it, it's not enough. You have to train the brain. It's like a surgery. Practice it. That's the only way the meditation can happen. You have to practice it. So these are the two. We have a technology is enabling us to do that. For example, so that's immersive, interactive. All these things happen. So this virtual reality is a very powerful state of mind. Mandelbrot I created T-shirts and everything. If you see that, that that if you are interested, and I will show you. Uh, these are the mind without a thought is a scientific journey. That's what I spoke with you. That is what we need to achieve in this present world. We are in a lot of stresses of the system right now we are going through. We have to really come back with the a fundamental minimalist living, giving a importance to the mind itself. Mind is the creation of all the universe. That's what these powerful scientists believe. Some other philosophers believe. So we have to give very due importance to the mind. We think all physical things. Oh, I eat good food. I eat this. So if without a good mind, it doesn't matter. I went to in Silicon Valley, in Tuberon Hills. I went to see I went to see this um, Robin Williams' house. After he died, that house somebody invited me for there. So I went there. The house is unbelievably huge. Probably most of their entire house is is uh, his kitchen is bigger than that. So what? And you can see the entire Golden Gate Bridge from there. You can see the entire thing. And then he has another house in Napa Valley. But what I found out is just amazing. In that all the tranquility, he committed suicide. What that mind does, see, think about that. So mind, it doesn't matter. Money cannot buy. Nothing can buy. A mind is a greatest gift from this from the universe to us. If you believe in God, that's fine. God gives you the greatest gift is a mind to explore. A 3 pound brain can not only imagines the entire universe and question itself, self-awareness. That is a power of mind. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch, stay there. But I'm going to show you a fractal. I hope I have that video. Let me see that if I have a fractal um, thing there. I'm going to show you why mind is important. This one of the police officer from he gave a testimony, give the testimony on the why. people are under stress. Is eloquently explained. Is the police officer explains this one very well. Watch this.
Jerian. By day, I'm a police lieutenant with the Winthrop, Massachusetts Police Department and a psychotherapist at night. People might be shocked that a police officer is advocating for psychedelics. But I believe we're in the middle of a mental health crisis across the whole country. I want to bring psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy to the police because in policing, PTSD is a big problem. There's a lot of uncertainty with this type of work. You don't know what kind of a call is going to come in. Anytime an officer is waking up to go to work, their nervous system's activating in a really distinct kind of way. You're not going in calm. You're tensed up. You're jacked up a little bit. You have a little bit of cortisol and adrenaline going through your bloodstream. And that's a daily occurrence. Over time, over the course of an entire career, it can cause problems. We're seeing the rapid escalation of death by suicide in officers. The numbers related to depression, the numbers related to suicidality, anxiety, they're staggering. Your past and your training and experience go into the way that you act on the street. Trauma tends to narrow people's perspective. Trauma taps into fundamental fear responses. It creates an us and them perspective. We're in a point in history right now where that needs to change. It's really important for us to not have a knee on the throat of a civilian. We need to get together. We need to take walls down. And I think that medications like MDMA will be able to help with that because it'll temper down that fear response. It'll bring in new perspective or widen perspective to allow for ideas around being one group, one family. My MDMA experience was federally sanctioned, a part of a research protocol. When the medicine took effect, I had this deep, overwhelming sense of love come across me. But what happened right after that sense of love was a sense of gratitude. And it gave me the needed perspective as to how MDMA is going to help somebody that's struggling with treatment-resistant severe PTSD. Our officers will make decisions better if they are rested, if they are well, if their resiliency is at the highest capacity. I care about helping with that because I'm helping not only the officers, but that person that intersects with them in that moment where that decision might have to be made, and maybe the best possible decision will be made. We're on a precipice of a sea change in the way we help people. We need to destigmatize access. We need to speed up access. We need to get enough therapists trained because when used carefully, cautiously, with care and guidance under certain protocols, I think these medicines can be very, very effective and helpful.
So I can tell you, so there people we classify ourselves so many ways. First, you start with us against them, Silicon Valley versus physicians, physicians versus insurance companies, these are all then black, white, yellow, brown. It's just the unbelievable classifications we create ourselves. Okay, nationalities, all kinds of things. But it's a one planet, it's a one mind. You know, the I only differentiate these two things: good mind and bad mind. That's all. There's no difference. Other than those, any other differences, we can all of the good minds. Then, if they became a bad mind, we need to bring them back to the good mind. That is my concept. Thank you for watching, and I will do some more on the Brain Cafe eventually. What are the solutions? I'm not proposing. I have a different solution then the police officer was suggesting is that the alternative solution is simulate that same psychedelic experience through virtual reality and neurofeedback. We could do that, and that's my proposal. But you could, because that's easily make it available for the entire population around the world. That is easy part to do that. So the government has to step in. This is a massive problem, so I hope we all do that in the right way. So mind is the most important precious thing that you have. Don't spoil. That is the one I do. Whenever I get a negative thoughts, what I do is I focus on these new things and understand the mind better. That's the only way. Keeping the things real and good. Thank you for watching. This is my. If you want to support the channel, please buy some of through your company, through your pharmaceutical company, or tell them about my channel and tell them to buy gifts from there to give it to you. That is educational gift. So that's illegal, absolutely legal. So these are the ones that I sell on the. It is listed on the Amazon and Etsy. Here is the things. Thank you so much. Good night.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it